Hi everyone, welcome to the 6th anniversary of ACC Global Leadership Program. My name is Myung-hee Kim. I'd like to talk to you about new leadership style named Leader as Coach. What do you think about leadership? It is widely believed that leadership is a psychological process of influencing and motivating others to reach their goal. Or someone says leadership is all about getting things done. What is your opinion? In my case, both agree and disagree. The English word leadership originates in the ancient root light, which meant go forth and die, as in battle. So, the essence of leadership lies in going into the future by letting go of the past. According to the meaning of leadership, light, leadership has something to do with the future. In order to succeed as a leader, it seems important to know what to happen in the future and how to adapt to it. Then, what do you think? What awaits you in the future? The future environment is characterized by VUCA. VUCA is an abbreviation of the 4 words: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Volatile means that change is constant, sudden, and rapid. And uncertain means that information and outcomes are unclear. For example, no one knows when COVID-19 will end and what will happen in the post-corona period. No one knows exactly what kind of challenge will await us. And complex means that variables and unknowns are multiply interconnected and interact with each other. So it is quite difficult to figure out what's going on and how to solve the problem. And ambiguous means the meaning of the event is quite vague, not clear, as if shrouded in fog. Like this. In this kind of circumstances, things are changing faster and different things are changing in different ways. And so, problems are complex, interconnected, and multidimensional. And challenges are emergent and unpredictable. So, leadership that uses control or position power is no longer effective. Here are examples of exponential technology that will shape our future: genetics, nanotechnology, and robotics and artificial intelligence. The problem is that in times of great change, there is a huge gap between where you think you will end up in the future and where you actually end up in the future. At some point in the future, you may say that, oh my God, I didn't expect this. If the future is VUCA, leaders need to get comfortable reading in chaos, disruption, complexity, and creating a new paradigm that disrupts the current system. How? The key to promote the transformational development is that leaders need to intentionally engage with diverse, novel, and adverse experiences, and to have curiosity, humility, and meta-reflection. Since problems are complex, interconnected, and multidimensional, communication and connection, dialogue, discussion, and collaborations are much more needed than ever before. To get subordinates involved in the process of change, leaders need to support and encourage their challenge and to provide feeling of belongingness, acceptance, and safety. And leadership skills like coaching, mentoring, teaching are required a lot. So, goodbye, position power, control, instruction and order, rigidity, closurism, dictatorship, and so forth. As mentioned, companies are moving away from the traditional command and control practice and toward something very different, a coach-like leadership. The role of manager, in short, is becoming that of a coach. What is coach? This person had been called as a coach. Now, the term coach is often used as a metaphor for someone who takes people to a desired place. Coach-like leaders bring their people to a desired state by using coaching in managing and working together in the organization. This image can be a metaphor of coaching leadership. Coaching leadership is quite similar to riding a carriage with two big wheels. One is coaching and the other is doing. Leaders motivate followers to change old behavior or set challenging goals through coaching and doing. And then support them to put their intention into action. By repeating coaching and doing process, the followers slowly change and grow and ultimately close their goal. Okay. These are change process caused by coaching leadership. There is usually a gap between goal and desired state that people usually do not recognize. Coaching conversation help people to aware this gap. When people aware the gap between goal and reality, they feel urgent and or decide to do something. They find a strategy to solve problem. For example, find a replacement or set environment set. And they try small action. If they succeed the action, this kind of action is reinforced and be repeated. In case they fail, they find another strategy to solve the problem. And as these actions are repeated, it becomes routine habit over time. And the people check the gap again, whether a current situation is similar to desired state. If there is still gap between goal and reality, they start this whole process again until they reach the ideal state. One of the best tools for non-directive coaching is GROW model, devised in the 1980s by Sir John Whitmore and others. GROW involves 4 action steps: goal, reality, options, where. GROW involves what do you want? And reality is about what's happening now, and option is about what could you do, and where is related with what will you do. The coaching conversation starts with sharpening the end picture and end up with a concrete action plan. Here's examples of coaching questions. In the coaching process, powerful questions are quite important. Questions for goal settings are, for example, what does your ideal future look like? What new skill do you want to learn or develop? What are you currently working together? And question for reality check can be, what is working well at the moment? What have you done so far to improve things? What is the biggest obstacle you are currently facing? And in order to find option, we can ask, if success was guaranteed, what would you do? What strengths can you use to move forward? What action step is the best use of your time at this moment? And real question can be, on a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you to achieving your goal? What will you do when you've achieved your goal? What else do you need to consider before starting? So, according to the research findings, leaders proactively seek change, utilize power of small success, create collaborative environment, lead to higher level of trust in leaders' competency. And leaders express belief in followers' potential, lead to higher level of trust in leadership. It means that coaching leadership is positively related to trust in leaders' competency and trust in leadership. Here is MS Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. Since Satya Nadella took over CEO of Microsoft in 2014, Microsoft has been through great change. The organization was leading away from an inspection culture toward a culture of learning and coaching. Coaching at Microsoft is about defining team objectives and helping the team adapt and learn. Managers allow employees to learn from mistakes and emphasize their potential to grow and learn. Since then, Microsoft's stock price is 5 times higher than when Satya Nadella became, and its market capitalization has passed $1 trillion. It is proved that coaching and learning are powerful methods to make a firm flourish in times of VUCA. Then, how manager can lead like a coach? Effective leader as coach ask a question instead of providing answer. Actively listen to employee instead of just saying what the leader wants to say. Support them instead of judging them, and facilitate their development instead of dictating what has to be done. Further, leader as a coach can facilitate the process by challenging new things every day to be someone better than yesterday. Always asking, what's new? What is the next? What can we do better? And promoting meaningful improvement by creating a small chance of success. Allowing followers to concentrate more on controllable factors both in work and private life. Lastly, I suggest you some do's and don'ts. Do, ask and listen. Empower employees. Help subordinates find answers on their own. Focus on strengths. Have partnership and acknowledge subordinate potential. And don't tell and sell, command and control, solve other people's problem. Focus on weakness and hierarchical relationship and consider it subordinate as inferior. What do you see? Boxing ring or two boxers? If you want to be a champion, you have to fight on the ring. If you only learn skill and not practice, you never become a great boxer. So, I strongly recommend you to practice what we have learned about coach-like leadership. Thank you for your attention. I prepared this content to give you the vision of future leadership. I want to see you become a great leader who illuminates our future.